Hi everyone, my name is Obed, and today I'm going to be reviewing Normal People. Mostly the show, but also a little bit the book as well, just because I've read the book, but I read it a long time ago, so I don't really remember it that well, but I did just watch the show with my friend, and we both really enjoyed it. So it is a novel written by Sally Rooney, and she's an Irish author, and the show is starring Paul Mescal and Daisy Edgar-Jones, as I think their names are, as Connell and Marianne, respectively. Sorry. Excuse me if I'm a little giggly. This is my first time filming a video, and it's a little unnerving talking to a camera, but I'm just gonna carry on. So I don't really remember the book that much, to be honest, but I do remember at many points while reading, I got super frustrated with the characters, and I found them kind of annoying, just because of their inability to communicate and be open with each other, which I understand is like a driving force of that book and kind of like the point of it, I guess. But I just remember thinking through so many parts of it that if only these characters could communicate with each other and be open about how they're really feeling, they could have avoided so much heartache and sadness, but I guess then there'd be no story. But what I appreciated about the show and the adaptation is that it really translated those qualities well onto the screen. Like it almost made them like quite endearing, or maybe a better way to say it is it made it more understandable. Like you could really feel the characters' struggle, and I kind of just understood more what they were going through internally, even if there wasn't like dialogue to kind of like flesh it out. You could really see just by the way they were acting, like the struggle that they were going through in their heads when it came to communication. And so I thought the performances of both of the leads were amazing. They had great chemistry. I'd never seen either of them in anything before, and I thought they were perfectly cast. Like, to be honest, I thought Marianne was too pretty at the very beginning. But by the end of the first episode, I thought she was perfect for the role. And just the way they interacted with each other, they were just so natural with each other. I just thought that was really well done. It was very, very well cast. I thought overall the whole thing was well done. Just the way it was shot was so beautiful. Just how they translated specific scenes onto the screen. I thought they nailed the tone. Everything was very well thought out. It was well paced, and they kept everything that was important from the book. I actually wrote down some scenes that I thought they did really, really well. So Connell telling Marianne that he was taking Rachel to the Debs, I thought they did very well. It was very heartbreaking from Marianne's point of view, like seeing her in that bed after Connell leaves, I think, and she's just crying. Just made me really sad. And then Connell and Marianne meeting for the first time in university, I thought they did that scene really well. And I think I saw an interview with Paul Mescal where he actually says that was his favorite scene to film, which I found pretty interesting. And then Connell at the counselor's office, like pretty far into the show. His performance was just so amazing, and just that whole sequence was so well done. And I like how they kind of kept the camera on Connell's face so you could really see everything he was going through. And then the last scene I really enjoyed, because I remember when I was reading the book, when it got to the end, I felt kind of like unsatisfied. Like I felt like it just ended and that was it. But it was way more satisfying in the show. And my friend who I was watching this with actually made a good point. He said it seemed a lot more optimistic, just in the sense that it really felt that like these two characters had grown to a place where they kind of would be able to, they were well adjusted enough to survive on their own, kind of in like a healthy way. And I felt the same way. I thought it was a lot more optimistic than it was in the book, just the ending. Yeah, and overall, it was just a great experience watching the whole thing. I thought like it delivered on everything you want an adaptation to deliver to. I thought they used music very well throughout the entire show, especially the ending scene when the music kind of like, they're just having that really intimate conversation, and then the music kind of just creeps in and kind of just like almost unnoticeably, but it just really elevates everything that you're feeling and ties the whole scene together. I thought they did that really well. And just in terms of the book and the story and the characters and everything, I did like how both of them were very relatable. Obviously with Marianne and her insecurities, we've all been there. We've all struggled with our own self-worth, and like how we're perceived by others, I guess. I guess she didn't really care about how others perceived her, but she did have a lot of self-worth issues, and I think we've all kind of struggled with that at least a little bit at some point in our lives. And then with Connell, what really resonated with me about him is when he was in the counselor's office, he was talking about how he was so excited to leave for school and how he had all these ways of imagining how things were going to be. And once he got there, he realized it wasn't as he'd imagined it. And I really related to that. Like even when I was first leaving for university, I had an idea of how it was going to be in my head. And it just wasn't like that. My university experience was very fun, but I can understand and relate to like that sense of a little bit of disappointment when reality doesn't match up to your expectations, I guess. And I think we've all probably felt that at some point in our lives as well, at least a little bit. Interestingly, I told my friend, actually he's my coworker, he's Irish, that I was watching this show, and he let me know that in Ireland, there were like very conservative groups that weren't receiving the show well because of the nudity. But I actually thought they did that really well. I thought they did those sex scenes in a very like sensitive, intimate way, and it was very layered. Like all the sex scenes, it wasn't just sexy, it was kind of like layered with all this like emotion, and it was kind of like a continuous conversation between these two characters. So it's interesting that some people found that kind of like offensive, I guess. I also appreciated how they didn't shy away from male nudity, because it is 2020. We can handle that now as an audience. But I also, in an interview, heard Paul Mescal, I think he said that he described the experience of filming those scenes as empowering. I thought that was a really nice sentiment as well, because I was kind of like wondering how weird it would be to film those scenes. Every time I watch a sex scene, I kind of like wonder that, but it's nice to know that he was super comfortable with it. And that's basically it, I think. I think they did a really good job with this adaptation. But I also just really enjoy stories like this. Like, I love slice of life character studies. I love intimate like character portrait studies and things like that, and just delving really into characters' internal worlds and internal spaces, and kind of trying to explore that. So on that note, if anyone has any recommendations for similar kinds of stories or books or shows or movies, let me know, because I'm always looking for things to consume. But yeah, especially, I also had just recently watched Little Fires Everywhere, which is based on the novel by Celeste. I'm not really sure how to say that last name, to be honest. So if anyone wants to let me know, it's just Celeste NG. And I didn't think that was as good of an adaptation. So it was nice to see an adaptation that I really thought was done super, super well. And actually, I think what I really appreciated was it enhanced my experience of the book. And like, it made me like the book more. And I don't think a lot of adaptations I've seen do that. But this one really did. So overall, I'd probably give it like a 4.5 stars. I just don't want to give it 5 stars because nothing in this world is perfect, but it was really well done. It was just, the cinematography was great. It was filmed very well. It was perfectly cast. It was paced super well. They really kept everything from the source material that needed to be there. And it was just me and my friend, we both really enjoyed the show. It made us emotional when it was supposed to, and it was just a great experience just watching this, watching it all play out on screen. So those are my thoughts on Normal People. I feel like I've been talking for a long time, so I'm gonna go. I'll probably do a review for Little Fires Everywhere right after this, so stay tuned, I guess. Okay, bye.